winning. I know a squirrel from a monkey.
South's commercial bill flamethrower. Bossman in the BAM. WBOSS Bossman Radio.
Live from Studio C, two guys who ask, wonder what they're doing in T-Town right now. Not this. It's South Alabama's #1 podcast, Drive Time with DJ and KJ.
Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to Drive Time, brought to you exclusively by Jim Peach Motors and Peach Chevrolet. Good morning, Hot Rod. Ron Kennedy in as well. Good morning, Ron. Mark Miller, Rhett Joyner, Mary Blair, David Maddox, Susan Rhodes, Elisa Hart, Diane McCracken. Good morning, Diane. Raj Palmer, Miss Gail. Good morning to you, Miss Gail. Lance McKenzie, Dylan Etheridge, Heath Jackson. Good morning, Heath. Let's see, Ray Stewart, Reed Joyner, Tara Tanner, Lawton Ship, Kay Luttrell, Lisa McGraw. My daddy's in. Good morning, Daddy. Carrie Hart, Stan Whitehead, JP the coach. Good morning, Coach. Tracy Miller, Jennifer Parker. Good crowd in this morning. Mallory Egerton, Josh Carter, Deanna McClellan, Keith Cooper. Good morning to each of you, and good morning, Kenwood.
Good morning. Good morning, Paul Wayne Hayes, Denise Finley, Miss Carol. Good morning to you. Chevy Ann. Good morning, Chevy Ann.
I think we're going to see Chevy Ann here in a few minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's going
to give us one final report before we have our guests come in.
She got a porta potty report for us this morning?
Yep.
Did she finally stop and actually go in and check them out to see if the hand sanitizer was in the right place? And
I think she's there now.
Is she?
Yep.
Okay. Has she got one of those certificates to leave? And you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good morning, Tracy Steele, Amy Black, Ashley Morris. Good morning. Lou Nager, Jacob Odom, JoJo Holmes. Good morning.
Morning, JoJo.
Amanda White. Good morning, Amanda. Yeah. So, yeah, I can't wait to get the report on that, especially since there's been nobody out there for the last several, I'd say weeks. That's right. It's a beautiful morning, Miss Diane, neighbor. Beautiful day in the neighborhood up there. So, I always enjoy seeing Shine out every morning, walking the dogs. And I'll tell you what, I'm not really that much of a morning person, not even compared to what you are. So to see people that can be that happy in the morning time, that early, it helps my day.
I don't know that I have a memory. I don't know that I have a memory where I haven't known of Shine McCracken. Hey.
Me neither.
He played softball with my dad back in the day at O'Bannon when I was a little kid. And of course, they in those days on weekends, they'd play basketball either at Bubba Bracken's house, they'd play at our house. And I just remember, Shine was one of the very first people I knew. I was probably 5 or 6, but I've always known Shine McCracken.
Yeah, I just
first class.
I just remember Shine, growing up in the Baptist church. So back then, what was on Wednesday nights, they had, what was it, RAs? I think is what they called it.
Yep.
Royal Ambassadors. I think it was it GAs? I don't remember what the girls were. Anyway.
Morning, Jackie.
But, yeah, good morning, Jackie. Jesse Rigby, good morning, Jesse. Megan Parker, good morning, Megan. There's that reminder right there. For all y'all that maybe you don't know, look at David Max. He loves early in the morning. Hey, that's a good outlook, David. I'm going to put that one down. Note to self. If we did this thing at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm good. I mean, I'd be extremely good. I could stay up all night long. It's that whole getting up the next day that kind of always throws a kink into my plan. But anyhow, so we have got Alabama Department of Transportation Public Affairs Director, Mr. Tony Harris. He's going to be with us here in a little while, and he's going to answer some of these questions about what's going on out there on 41 at the bridge. Outside of the porta potty questions that we already have a on the spot porta potty spotter that is that's hard to say fast, that is doing that for us.
Did you just say syphilis?
No, I said spotter. I tell you though, if you listen to that show back enough, I mean it sure sounds like it. You picked it up. I can tell you that
immediately,
quick, like faster than anybody else did. Action. What's going on? Good morning. David Hornbeek, JP, the coach. Good morning. Lori Stanford Sessions. Good morning to you. Kane Dickey, Danny Mac Brooks, Dylan Etheridge, Judy Crane. Good morning. What's Dylan saying? I don't think your weatherman will be too happy this morning. Seems like a cloudy and rainy Tuesday. Well, we're going to call him in a little bit and let him tell us what it is. I mean, that's what we do about what do we normally, that segment runs about 8:15
ish
when we do the station identification ish.
Yeah, that's right.
So, good morning, Kathy Tolan. Anyhow, heartbreaker for the Auburn Tigers last night.
Man, what a game.
Yeah.
Typical. We make it memorable. That was tough.
Yeah.
Great season. Disappointing finish.
Great season.
Tip your cap to Florida, defending champs.
Great season.
There'll be a handful in Omaha, but yeah, disappointing.
Let me ask you a question. And I'm going to tell you who pointed this out to me over the weekend was Coach Boyd. How can let me take that back. How can Auburn lead the way when it comes to recruiting? I mean, just tear that other team on the other side of the state up in recruiting in baseball, but we can't do anything with them in football. Not that we have terrible recruiting classes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. But we had a conversation about it. Of course, Brent being a graduate of Alabama and of course, had a pretty good, pretty good baseball career there. But he actually pointed that out to me. He said, listen, and a lot of it goes to the coach.
I was going to say, who's the baseball coach at Alabama?
That's right. So, and he pointed that out. And I said, well, that's where one of my issues is with Auburn and football is, and of course I ain't trying to get off an Auburn Alabama deal. That's not what I'm saying. We were just talking about baseball as a whole and how, Auburn's baseball team has come and, out and done with, what they've done. And he pointed out, he said, well, listen, he said, they're winning all the recruiting battles, every one of them. And he said, it's because of that coach.
Yeah.
And you got to say the same thing for Alabama with football.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't want to go out on a boat with Coach Saban.
Not going to do that.
Yeah. Would you?
No.
I mean, I would. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not. Good morning, Chef Adam. I would, as far as, if we were in like water that wasn't too terribly shallow. I think that's what happened. I think didn't they run aground or did they run out of gas?
Ran out of gas.
Oh, okay. Well,
if I'm ever on a boat with him, I hope he can swim.
You wouldn't throw him off, would you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'd six pack him real quick and he'd be in.
Man, listen, you yeah, you're right, King. He sure does. Well, he's got his name on part of a couple. Let me say that. So, but no, I thought that was a good point. Auburn has done well with ball and didn't have.
Well, they've done well the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Since Butch Thompson got there.
Without the injuries in basketball, they would have had a pretty good basketball season.
And they
still did.
Yeah.
But so anyhow, people are red facing the heck out of us right now.
Yeah, let's get off of it. Blueberry Festival this weekend.
Yeah,
how about that?
Yeah, let's get off of that. But I did want to say it was a heartbreaker.
It was a heartbreaker.
It was. What was you pointing out a while ago about Josh Godwin?
Josh Godwin this week with the Blueberry Festival set for Saturday. We'll have the blueberry ice cream and blueberry crunch each afternoon and evening there at David's Catfish. So if you want to get a early sample of it,
go on up there.
He'll have it.
Good morning, Roger Templeton, Jason Jackson. Good morning, Jason. Patty Whitworth. Good morning to you, Jerry Wilson, Bryce Agerson, Miss Phyllis Smith. Look at Chevy Ann. She got them hashtags. You see that?
Yep.
Jack of all trades. Well, let me ask you a question. Did you dump the what is that thing? Would you call it a carrying what do you call those things on a motorhome where you dump your gray water and your black water? You roll up there to the thing, you pull a little handle.
Yeah.
Did you make sure and get them things cleaned out pretty good? Yeah. How about
yes,
that?
Booker, I'll be pulling from Mississippi State as well.
Yeah, might toss a donut into the water first.
And I'll pull for Florida. I know Paul, I'm pulling for Florida. Good team.
I was just with him. Man, and Butch is still on that Muskogee pool.
Keep moving, Butch. Just keep moving.
Yeah, I pull for Mississippi State. Sure, I pull for the SEC. Period. Even Bama. I mean, I don't care. I'm going to pull for the SEC.
Arkansas is going to be in there as well. The SEC has 3 teams in the
there you go
final field of 8.
Good morning, Mother.
Good morning, Miss James.
Naomi Lindsay. Good morning to you. Melanie Smith. Good morning, Miss Melanie. Holding tank. Thank you, David. That's what I was looking for.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to tell you something. I don't know who that is, but they turn in here?
Well, I thought they did, but I don't see them.
Okay. Well, that wasn't a bad looking ride right there.
I hear them.
Yeah.
I think they're just turning around.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Looked like that ZZ Top mobile from back in one of those videos. Let's see. Camp 31 will be serving blueberry beignets, blueberry lemonade, and other great specials at Camp 31. Come see us.
Blueberry lemonade?
That's what he just said.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not enough space at the park. Well, we talked about that, I think yesterday. Hal had been saying that there was a ton of people coming in, vendors and things. So
I've never had the blueberry lemonade.
I hadn't either, but Aunt B right there says she needs a gallon.
Sounds good.
Maybe she's had some. Danny Smith, good morning to you. Morgan Cotton, good morning to you. If Aunt B says it's good, I'm going to take her word for it. Even though she's a undercover Kai, I will take her word for it.
I'll try a gallon of it.
You saw those pics.
I did.
That I pointed out. But hey, I'm going to give her a pass on that because, all of us from down here, if we get somewhere and we run into folks from somewhere that got ties to here, we all going to kind of gravitate towards each other. Center of the universe. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
So, anyway, turned down 20 vendors. How about that?
How old is the Blueberry Festival? How long? Is it a 30-year-old?
I asked Hal that the other day because I was curious, and we sat there and tried to figure it out. I think it's over 30 years.
Okay.
Now, I may be wrong.
Well, it's been around for a long time, for sure.
If Miss Judy Crane's in, she can probably give us a more up-to-the-minute answer on that.
A lot of things like that.
Connie B. I know Connie could.
They have a shelf life. And I would think that this has been as good a run
there's no doubt.
As any other.
There's no doubt.
In the state.
It was just a baby Kai. Well, I tell you what, how fast does that baby Kai throw?
She runs it up there pretty good.
I was gonna say
Pretty good.
she'll put one under that chin for you if you don't watch it.
She can knock one. She does pretty
And
good with the bat,
I was gonna
too.
say she can swing that bat pretty good too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kais,
This is 38 is what Mark is saying.
38. Okay. Well, I tell you what, Mark the Shark knows. Good morning, Stephen Robinson. Carolyn Hart. Good morning.
38.
Josh Pugh. I think the first one was in 1981.
38 and to capacity.
I'm gonna tell you something. That is a strong statement for small town USA.
It really is. And it's also a strong statement for our chamber as an entity
It
itself.
definitely
to
is.
be able to keep it fresh,
Yes.
keep it out there, and encouraging vendors to come.
I'm going to tell you this, though.
Speaks a lot for them.
I want to say this. We don't talk about it enough, and we should. But people don't know how lucky that we are to have some of the folks, all of the folks that are on the chamber, especially the board, that get out there and do what they do. These people put in countless hours. I mean, countless hours of work to put on these events. And I'm going to tell you something. You know, we owe them a huge thank you for what they do for our community. And that's not a paying gig.
It's a volunteer position that turns into
volunteer.
a second job.
It does.
They will start after the Blueberry Festival the first of next week. They will have another meeting kind of recapturing what happened or unfolded during the weekend.
That's right.
To set up the Blueberry Festival for next year. They plan a year in advance for all their stuff.
Whit Nicholson, Christina Jones, good morning to you. Darlene Mulder, Alicia Nelson, good morning. Listen, Butcher, you got to take your hat off to Butcher. You know, I mean, of course, Hal Whitman, I think, let's see, Melanie McGugan, Linda Williamson,
Hillary
Harrington's on there. Let's see, Daryl Consler's on there.
We're gonna miss somebody.
Yeah, I wish I had a list of everybody in front of me. And
Is Clay still on it?
No, I think he was off.
Well, Josh is on it.
Josh Godwin's on it. You like this is Hal's year. He has to come off, and you have to stay off a year and then come back on. But now Butch is my understanding. Like Butch and like Hal, and all that, they'll still be part of it, but they are not like officially listed as being on the board of directors.
We have oftentimes given away other people's stuff here.
Yes, we
without
have.
permission.
Sure.
Let's just go ahead and give all of them lifetime appointments to the chamber. Don't let them rotate off. Like right now, Hal, you're on for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I'll tell you what, the people, they want to speak to this.
Yeah.
Get everybody in drive
We'll do it
time.
like Supreme Court. We'll make it a lifetime appointment.
Yeah. I'm good with that. And they can just retire when they need to retire. Larry Murphy, good morning to you. Wendy Willis, good morning to you. Yeah.
I love, the events they put out in the course of the year, of course, they're wide ranging, trying to appeal to everybody.
Good morning, Jessica Smith.
I love and am probably most excited about the Porch Fest. I know the Blueberry Festival Saturday. That's our mainstay, our flagship event, I guess. 38 years is what we're seeing here.
Manasco said they'd like to reserve a spot right now for next year's Blueberry Festival. I don't blame you. I will tell you something. When you have a problem like that right there, where you got to start reserving spots for the following year, we call that a good problem to have in the car business.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of on-the-spot reporters, I guess she has decided to come in and give us another eyewitness report this morning.
Kind of setting the stage for our guest here a little bit later in the show.
I mean,
come on in, Chevy Ann.
Here is. Let me get this right here. All right, remember I know you talk loud, but you still got
really talk loud.
Yeah, you just got to speak in that microphone.
Okay.
So, I did notice when I rode by out there Sunday, there is still some cranes and stuff out there.
It still looks the same. Nothing's changed.
But I mean, like you got to look kind of off behind where the boat landing is, but there is still like two cranes sitting off kind of in the trees. Now, I did not get out and inspect the porta potties. I do know that you have a clean bill of health.
What do you think, Chevy?
I think they're good to go.
Okay. Well, I'm just, I'm calling it like like you say it. Jeffrey Parker, good morning, cousin. Renee Johnson, good morning to you. Joey Salter, Sharman O'Bannon. Sharman, call me. I'm fixing to call you after this is over.
Cake walk.
Yeah, we got to have a talk after the show today. Rhett Joyner said to give you a minute and a half.
I'm worth more than a minute and a half.
Patty Pete said, hey, girl.
Oh, hey, Patty.
Yeah, don't come in here and act all shy.
I'm not shy.
Because you are definitely like not
no,
that.
we know I'm not shy.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Now, the first thing that I want to know is, I know what he wants to ask. He just hasn't asked it yet. Do you have it on or do you not have it on?
I just put a dab behind my ear today.
I know.
Just a little bit. I almost didn't. I broke out the bottle, though.
I'm sorry. That's your leg. I'm not rubbing on mine. I got those thighs mixed up. I'm sorry.
I mean, we have two different color pants on,
man,
DJ.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go right here.
Hand check. Hand check.
Listen, the new motto, Sex Panther, a little dab will do you.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, man. Oh, Lord have mercy. Connie Fraser, good morning. Michael Robinson, Daddy's in. You better behave over there, DJ. Yeah. Daddy's in. Sherry Weaver, OG. Good morning, Sherry. Shelly Riley, another OG in. Chelsea Brown, good morning. Amanda Gwynn, good morning to you. Book's already back on you, man. Book, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm glad you in here to moderate or not, regulate this deal. Speaking of that, I was getting kind of to that a while ago. Did you happen to catch the Butch wants to know, is this the winner of DJ's Love Connection?
Hey man, started in the summer. You never can tell.
We have not had an official date on that yet. Let me ask you something, Chevy Ann.
Okay.
Can you backward skate?
I can't afford to skate.
I mean, listen, you can't. Can you not sweep that leg? If you can, we've got a place for you.
Forwards, backwards,
Look here.
sideward.
Have you ever had a suicide? I ain't seen DJ scratch his foot this much in the last 3 months of shows.
Man, having a reaction.
Little Panther will do it to you every time, man. I'm going to tell you.
Tell you what.
Was it work 100%, 70% of the time?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, how about Butcher? Let's consider this the first date.
It's going well.
I mean, you can't, though, really, because the last time Chevy Ann was in, we had like 2 or 3 people sitting here ready to come on. I caught flack. I'm going to be honest with you. I caught some flack about that. And I probably shouldn't call out who I caught flack from about it, but I'm going to tell it.
Tell it.
Yeah, I caught flack from Kenny.
Mr. Kenny?
Oh, yeah. He was a little ill that Chevy Ann didn't get no more mic time than she did.
I'm with Kenny.
He said she's not bashful. And
Good Lord.
She have no problem doing this. You ain't got to worry about him.
Oh, my God.
Did you just see me hit that
Hey, that car ain't going to make it that more. I can tell you right now.
I think water just came in over the door.
You better get the wrecker on standby, DJ. I'm going to tell you right now, that thing will never make it to Flomaton.
Did it look like it was leaning a little bit towards the driver's side?
It did. I mean, good Lord. Oh, yeah. Butcher. Sidewards. How about that? You wasn't sidewards. You was like underwater words right then. Okay, chocolate. This is Monasco. Chocolate insanity cake. Chocolate cake with chocolate ganache with chocolate buttercream.
That sounds like diabetes.
Yes.
No, I ain't gonna lie to you. That sounds like a good time.
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay. Good morning, Kate McDaniel. This girl is precious. Y'all should keep her as a co-host. Well, listen, she can have this whole show.
She's too shy.
Yeah. She's better looking than both of you. Well, hey, listen.
Yes, she is.
I promise you, we agree with that. Okay. I mean, Douglas Kelly, good morning to you. Mary Ann Swain, sister, good morning, Whitney. Clobber and Rob, good morning, Rob.
Another Cobra Kai just came in.
Peggy Hale.
Baxley Hall.
Baxley Hall. Good morning, Baxley. Teresa Harper. Josh White. Good morning to you. Look here, that car's been making it for years. Don't judge a book by its cover. Listen, we're not judging a book by its cover.
I saw the way he came
we
in
saw
the parking lot.
we saw the cover look like the Titanic going down just then. Did it not?
It did.
I mean, that thing, I tell you right now, I had to turn his daggone windshield wipers on to clean the windshield off. Yeah. So yeah, Kenny thought that we rushed you through. He was like,
I mean, maybe.
yeah.
Just a tad.
He said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, I wanted to hear more about those porta potties. I said, I bet you did. Hey, you know, he did pick, I told you, he did pick the phone up and call Carl Smith in Riverview, which is, I think, the mayor.
Yeah.
And asked him if he knew anything about that bridge. And Carl Smith told him he didn't know anything about that bridge. Nothing. So, you know, hey, it is what it is. Butcher, I want to take that car on the day of the Dash Bash, and let's run it down the creek bank at O'Bannon, and let's see how far we can get out in that creek. We got a record. We got a rollback. We'll get it out. Don't worry about that. But I mean, I'm telling you, if that thing will take that kind of abuse just then, I'm convinced that thing will go on. I mean, it's good for at least several feet of water. Yeah, he's driving the purse snatcher. Yes, action. He is. It was white. Hot Rod, and look out for it, because I'm telling you right now, if you happen to be anybody that's going towards Atmore on 31 South, if you see a white
Ford Taurus,
4-door Taurus pulled over, stop by and help the man. He you know.
Again, if you're in law enforcement, he could be driving a little fast.
Yeah.
Slow him down.
Yeah. If any of the Flomaton PD down there, Brian Davis, any of you guys happen to be tuned in this morning, get ready. He's on the way. Set up a roadblock. What old Buford T tell him when old Bandit come through there and run that roadblock? He says, "Did you see that? He run right through our roadblock." Buford said, "You boys couldn't close an umbrella." What did action said? No self-respecting cop will be caught pulling. Listen, you wouldn't want to do the paperwork on that thing, would you, Action? So, did you see the video of the childhood friends? Hey, that was awesome.
I did. That was first class.
That was awesome. It really was. I want to say this about T-Bone too. T-Bone made a post yesterday that I thought was very, very needed to be made. I think a coach, maybe some former players, but one of them being T-Bone's daughter might have played for it one time. And he made a post about, you know, some of these kids leaving, going to play easier competition and this kind of thing. And of course, Tony took a little exception with it and kind of made a post about it. And I so wanted to put on there, but I didn't, that if this man knew what was good for him, he would look up the term regulators and understand that T-Bone was not the kind that you want to retort back with on that kind of post. Now, you tell me if I'm like, at what part of this I've took a left or right turn and I'm off course, but I don't think I'm off course in saying that at all.
No, he just, the guy who made the initial post he needs to be very thankful today that it's not 1992.
He needs to be more than thankful. Matter of fact, he needs to increase his offering this Sunday by twice.
He's a blessed man.
Yes, he is a blessed man. Now, I can tell you that. Butcher, y'all keep talking about that. Well, we're going to, Butch. Good morning, Kathy Mack. And now Butch is on Raj. Watch it, Raj. I mean, yeah, that's right, Raj. It probably already is broke down. I mean, that, you know. So he don't want you leaking oil in his parking lot either, Butch. So, okay. So let us ask you, Chevy Ann, do you drive over that bridge out there every day? The one that's been there forever? Mm-hmm. Now, I talked to Tony Harris last week, and Tony told me there's nothing wrong with that bridge. It's just, you know, kind of end of the life cycle type thing. And, so we don't want people to think that bridge is unsafe or anything like that, because it's not. But how long didn't they work on that new bridge? About 3 years or so. I mean,
the one that like is beside it.
The one you've been checking out for us, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, the one over Murder Creek.
I gotta cross that one too.
Yeah, the new bridge.
I feel like it's been forever.
Okay, but it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Okay.
Because the road was messed up at one point, and it was like a dip. So if you hit it just right, you'd catch some air.
Yeah. Have you caught some air out there?
Not recently.
Okay. I know you said that the cops are bad to sit out there.
They are. They've got me a few times.
Yeah. Well, Michael don't mind.
Who?
I said Michael don't mind. Your daddy? He
No, he does mind. I promise you. The first ticket I get, I'm off the insurance.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, there's already a total on it.
Oh, well. Kevin Durden, good morning. Tim Woods, good morning, Tim. Misty Joyner. Hope Howard's having Hope Tyler's a big time. Have you heard anything? DJ, have you heard anything?
I hadn't talked to Howard since he left Sunday morning. I found out they play their first game either Friday or Saturday this week, so I'll probably get a recap sometime this weekend.
Good morning, Cindy Fleming, Mary Harper. Yeah, but I've noticed that too. Butch has been getting to work a little earlier this week. Wonder if he's been like, somebody's jerked him up down there. What you think?
I think they're finally asking him to work.
Really?
Is that 3 years off?
I just kind of...
Kate, the bridge is not closed. Come on.
Y'all don't be so rough on the bridge. It got completed before Joel's did. Listen, you know what that's called? Deflection. Way to deflect, Butch. Good job. Anyway, so...
Good morning, Cindy.
So I have a question about the porta potty situation. Okay. Are they at one end or are they at both ends of the bridge?
They're in the middle.
Oh, they're in the middle.
Mm-hmm. And there's like Germex stands on either side. They're full of Germex. I checked. But it's not like they're like good scented.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I got to thinking about that. What if they were on just one end and you were working on the other end?
Knees to chest.
Can you imagine the walk that you'd have to make from, that's a pretty long bridge.
Yeah, it is.
Really. So that'd be rough. Good morning, Betsy Miller. So, is there not a dip there anymore? You don't have to duke it up.
I think they filled it somewhat, kind of rigged it up where it's not as rough, because it was terrible.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing. I know, is it the local cops out there? Is it like state troopers? Like, what is it?
Well, East Burton, I did not know that was a jurisdiction. I found out.
What do you mean you didn't know it was a jurisdiction?
I didn't know it was their jurisdiction out there. And it
says police jurisdiction on the signs out there.
Well, I don't really pay attention. Signs are merely just suggestions whenever I'm driving.
Yeah, you'll be off that insurance real quick.
Signs are suggestions. Remember that. That stop sign, hey man, that's just if you want to.
I stop at those. Well, I kind of like
no cop, no stop. Just roll right on through.
Winning.
No,
don't worry about it.
The East Burton cops are usually, I did not know, and they pulled me over, and he was like, "You do realize you were going like 70 in like a 45 in a construction zone?" I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't realize." And he didn't write me a ticket. I hope he's not on here, because now my car has like a target on it.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, Kiki Floyd, good morning. Elizabeth Bush, good morning. Greg Flimbo, good morning to you. Sherry says the county stays out there some.
They do. And the state troopers were out there last week.
Kiki Taylor says, Lord, Cheyenne. I'm still what she said. Yeah, that's right, Jesse. She's went to the Kenny James School of Driving, which Kenny's got a handwritten note on his steering wheel that says stop at all stop signs.
He's got it on his
steering wheel.
Really?
Yeah, I told you about him. Maybe I didn't, but he California rolled a stop sign one day with a cop.
So he put a note on his steering wheel
and got pulled over, got a ticket. And listen, after that
guy.
he went and wrote a note and taped it with duct tape onto his center of his steering wheel. I'm not sure if you press it, the horn will work anymore.
Who's got the book deals? Josh already secured all the rights to the story.
I would think so. I think that life story has been ingrained.
Man.
So, okay. So good morning, gangsters. Good morning to you, Holly, Hart, Shirley, Susan Prime. Yeah. David Maddox said he suggests you start reading them.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a blur.
Yeah. Well, maybe when you're driving that fast. Kerry Hart says state troopers were at the airport yesterday, 2 of them. All right. So it's time. We gotta make a phone call and talk to get Mr. Tony Harris. Are you like checking out?
I can check out. Hey.
Aren't you swapping a vehicle or something?
Yep.
Thank you, Chevy Ann, for your on the spot reportage.
Yep.
Of
I got it,
of the
Chevy.
porta potties.
Wait, hey, you better read me out.
Yeah, sorry.
Did you stop and use
I didn't
one?
see a sign.
No, I'm okay.
Okay, well that's good. All right, you got that. All right, so let me get him on the phone. Have a good one. All right, so let me get dialed up here. 334. I ain't gonna say that out loud. All right, so let me get dialed up here. 334.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tony. This is KJ and DJ Drive Time. You're on live with us this morning. For everybody, we kind of already introduced you, but this is Tony Harris, and I'll let you kind of tell us who you are, what you do, and that kind of thing, if you don't mind, Tony.
Guys, it's nice to be on with you this morning. I'm the Director of Media and Community Relations for the Alabama Department of Transportation. I'm based in Montgomery, and deal with news media and public concerns. So it's nice to be on with you this morning.
I know I had a good conversation with Tony the end of last week, and of course he and I kind of know some of the same people, and of course we talked about some of staples of our kind of local area communities around here. Jeff Kirkland being one of them. DJ, of course everybody knows the Kirklands around here. Of course, Diana and Jeff, and several of those brothers, what have you. But of course, he also knows one of your classmates, Chris Folsom.
Good man.
Well, you want to slide in? Yeah, there you go. So anyhow, yeah, old Chris is a great guy. But Tony, I want to thank you for coming on and helping to kind of talk about the bridge out on Highway 41 and some of the clear some of the air on this thing. We were just so much rumor mills get started and things such as that, and so we just been trying to get somebody that knew and could speak kind of expertly, if you will, as to what's is going on out there and what's not going on out there, and it kind of give us an update as to where we are with the bridge as it sits today.
Well, we have a situation with the newly constructed bridge that's very disappointing to us. The bridge deck has been determined through our inspection process to be substandard. That's not something that happens very often. It does happen. I've seen it one other time in 15 years with the department. And when it happens, we just simply for safety and the longevity that we need and expect out of a newly constructed bridge, have to take action. And in this case, the action is we've ordered that the bridge deck be removed and replaced by the contractor.
Tony, when you say the deck, is that the driving surface? Is that the underbelly of the driving surface? What is the deck?
It's the entirety of the driving surface.
Okay.
So that's going to be that's going to be the
top to bottom.
That's going to be the side barriers. Everything has got to come down.
Well, if the side barriers have to be removed to get the deck off, then yes. I'm not sure exactly the type of construction we have on that bridge. I've not actually been down to see it. I think I know the type of bridge that we have there. The main thing is that the driving surface will be replaced. It will be subject to closer inspection and by some different teams that will be involved with that process. And we expect to be able to move through that process and have a bridge that will provide us the lifespan that we expect out of our bridges.
Well, let me ask this question, and that's one of the questions that keep coming up around here, and which is, and I'm asking out of not knowing. Okay, so understand why I'm asking this question. Were there inspectors out at the bridge while the bridge was being built?
We always have inspectors on our projects. I think that's part of where our disappointment comes from on this project.
Yeah. So okay. So I guess that then, I mean, is it like one inspector? Is it, a team of inspectors? Are they there from the day one of the breaking of ground to the day, finish where everything's done and that kind of thing? Or are those inspectors the one that make the final determination on whether this, bridge is safe to use or not use and that kind of thing?
Well, guys, I'm not on the engineering or the construction side of the department. It's easy for us with a conversation like this to get beyond my expertise, but typically we have either a team of ALDOT employees who inspect projects or
Did we lose him? Hey, Tony, are you there?
I'm getting some I'm here. I'm getting some reverb back on my end of this.
Yeah, hold on just a second. Let me do this. Hold on just a second. Yeah, you should be good now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. You should be good.
That's much better.
Yeah, sorry
so
about that.
We have either a team of ALDOT inspectors on a project, or we contract that out to an engineering consulting firm that does that for us. It has specialty in that, and that's how we have managed this one. It was near the tail end of construction where we began to detect the problems that were a concern for us. And just to give you and the listeners, the viewers, an idea of when I say substandard, what I mean by that is with a bridge deck, you have your surface, your rebar, and you pour your concrete in on that surface and with that rebar, and you specify a certain thickness of concrete surface above the rebar. We began to find that we didn't have that everywhere we needed it, and ultimately, when we had additional inspectors come in from the department, we concluded that for us to be satisfied with the job we expected on that bridge, that the entire deck would have to be replaced.
Who will cover the cost of that, Tony, as far as getting the replacement deck put in?
Our specs and our contract require that the contractor bear those costs.
I should have. I don't mean to interrupt. I should have asked this question from the very beginning. You and I did talk about this on, I think it was Friday or Thursday, one of the days. will you speak to the bridge that is in use now? Will you speak to the safety of that bridge? As you and I spoke, you told me that bridge is completely and 100% safe.
Yeah, we're satisfied with the condition of that bridge. That bridge was built in 1960, and it does not meet today's design standards, but it does continue to have satisfactory inspection results. If it did not, we would not allow traffic to remain on it without either repair or weight limit, weight restrictions placed on it. So yeah, we're satisfied with that bridge. It got a full inspection about 60 days ago, and we continue to have routine monitoring of that bridge, and will continue to have routine monitoring of that bridge until we're able to work through replacement of the deck on the new bridge.
So, one of the questions being asked is, and of course, these are all just questions out of, none of us knowing how this process works and, how this thing, starts and gets going and that kind of thing. And you mentioned that this very rarely happens. How does a project like this get to a point like this? Is this just is it a conglomerate of just, issues that happen to arise, or, is it, things that, you talked about inspectors, and I think you mentioned you brought more inspectors in or that kind of thing. Is this an issue where maybe you had one group of inspectors say, hey, we think that thing's okay, and another says we don't think it's okay? Or is it purely a engineering issue, or, I guess the question there is if you have inspectors on site during the building of the bridge, if they have engineering standards that they're going by, and of course I'm not in construction, I couldn't tell you anything about any of that stuff at all. You mentioned that a while ago as well, but how does that, how does it get to the point to where they've laid all the span of the bridge like that before it's recognized that, okay, we've got some problems with the concrete not meeting the levels above the rebar in certain areas?
Well, that's something we're continuing to look at. We will be replacing our inspectors as we move forward. And I think hopefully we will get to the bottom in a satisfactory way of why we ended up with these problems. But I don't know a whole lot about that process at this point.
Sure. Well, I want to tell you this now, and I'll be completely honest with you. That as far as just riding by and looking at it, it looks great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The problem for us, the deficiencies we found in that deep inspection that we began when we, based on what we first were beginning to see with some of the spans of the bridge, were things that could have caused a reduced service life of that bridge. We expect a certain level of service out of a bridge with that type of construction, maybe 75 years, and we're beyond 55 years, I believe, now with the existing bridge, and so we have certain expectations and certain needs when we replace bridges, and we'll move forward with replacing that deck before we put that bridge in service.
How quickly will the contractor get started on replacing the deck?
I don't know that I can answer that question right now. We're in some back and forth with that process. Hopefully we'll be able to provide some answers on that soon, and I'll continue to avail myself to the show to keep you and viewers updated.
One of the questions being asked, Tony, and again, I'm in no way, DJ and myself, claim to know anything about construction or the process or the thing that goes on, is the contractor on liquidated damages on the project?
I don't know where we are with their timeline. That's something that we'll probably get into looking at. I was trying to find before we went on air the project number in our database so I could look at some of the timeline details, and I wasn't able to find it before we went on the air.
Okay. Another question that's been asked several times: can you give us a figure? We've heard several figures,
Mm-hmm.
come around. Can you give us a figure of what the bridge cost?
Yeah, our awarded contract was for a little over $13.4 million.
Okay, so roughly $13 million. I mean, 13.5.
Yeah, we'll probably have some additional cost rolled into that. We may be at 14 by the time we're finished, but.
And can you touch on as well, when you and I spoke last week, this was not anything where there was an inspection and it was, we got to do something. It was, as you told me, it was just a life cycle issue, and y'all do this throughout the state on a yearly basis with bridges that come up on the life cycle span. Can you kind of expand a little bit on that?
At any given time, we may have 20 bridge replacement projects ongoing in the state, and the state, the Department of Transportation is responsible for about 5,600 bridges on state, U.S., and interstate highways across the state, and they are inspected regularly, and you begin to identify at a certain point life cycle issues with bridges, and you begin to plan for their replacement. And so that's where we were with this bridge. It came up in our cycle where we know that at some point it's necessary to replace that bridge in order to continue to provide the level of service that area needs. So, and I'm asking again and DJ I'm just hogging the mic here, but once something like that gets, I know you said you've only run this just a couple times, but once something like that gets started, is it, and I'm asking this question because, the bridge that is there now that we are using, would it, with the amount of money and things that are going to have to be spent to tear off the deck and all that kind of thing, would it be money ahead to, or can you not put traffic across the new bridge as it sits right now? I know we were talking about a lifespan on it, but is it not safe to put traffic on? Well, for us, we don't want to put traffic on a bridge that we know is going to have to. We're going to have to take it out of service to replace the bridge deck on. Okay. So no, that's not something we would do. Okay. Well, I didn't know if it may be, money wise, if it may be easier to tear down the existing bridge we're using now and route traffic on that bridge, and it just, I don't know what. Obviously we don't have any type of idea. What kind of costs are going to be involved, and you may have an idea of that, of what it's going to be involved to. Tear that off and rebuild. I would certainly think it would be in the neighborhood of the numbers you spoke about earlier, just because of the sheer time and manpower and of course materials and all that kind of stuff involved to do that again. I think I don't want to go too far speculating, but I've seen some preliminary estimates that the cost to replace the bridge deck may exceed $1.5 million. Oh well, again, those costs will not be borne by the state. Yeah. Oh well, I thought you'd be looking at, way more than that, several $1 million. So that's not near as bad as what I was thinking. So anyway, I
I'm bad. I'm sitting here hugging
Tony,
it up.
is there a timetable as far as when the contractor might be out getting this remedied?
No, we haven't set a timeline yet. We're engaged in discussions with the contractor and trying to work through how we proceed.
Are they taking your phone calls?
Well, I'm not involved in the process directly, so I don't want to speak to that.
Okay.
I think it's in everybody's best interest to work together and to move toward the things that we know need to be done, and we'll continue to do that. And we certainly expect to come out of the process with accountability and a good product that we can put traffic on, and that it be safe and reliable for everyone that uses State Highway 41, and so that's our ultimate goal.
Do you have any idea, Tony, what once they do get started on doing that, do you have any idea of how long it will take to put a new decking on the bridge?
I don't have a firm timeline for how long it will take to replace, because we've got to remove the deck, or the contractor will have to remove the deck and then replace the deck. So I don't have a timeline for any of that, when we might see that work begin, or how long it may take. But again, we'll continue to push for the accountability and the process to be completed so that we can move forward.
You mentioned earlier about weight limits and things, restrictions. If the bridge in use now was not currently capable of handling that, how are y'all's thoughts on if we had a named Cat 2, Cat 3, Cat 4 storm coming up the Gulf, of course, 41, 87, that corridor there being an evacuation corridor, how the bridge is in place now. You feel, your inspectors and everybody feel good about the amount of traffic that would go over that bridge. You feel good that bridge can handle that amount of traffic.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any issues with the amount of traffic that the existing bridge could handle. Again, if we had an inspection that identified problems, we would either make temporary repairs, or we would put some weight limits on the bridge. And I'm not aware of any weight limits that are currently on that bridge. Traffic volume, it shouldn't be an issue with an inspection, with an evacuation, or anything like that. Now, after you have a significant, especially tropical storm event move through an area, especially one that produces significant amounts of rain, we go back in and look at bridges again. And I recall a bridge actually up in this area. When you have a tropical storm move through an area, those dump rainfall, heavy rainfall, all over the state. I recall a bridge about 12 years ago up in the Montgomery area, where heavy rains caused a river to get up, and we went in after that and identified some structural issues that we reduced traffic on. We rerouted heavy truck traffic, and restricted the bridge to one direction of traffic at a time with temporary traffic signals until repairs could be made, and moved that bridge up in its replacement cycle. So within 18 months, we had begun replacement of that bridge, just because of those damages that resulted from that tropical storm. So that's something we look at after the fact, and we would certainly do that if we get into with this hurricane season. Hurricane season, as you know, began June 1st.
That's right,
and that's something we monitor very closely.
Tony, are you at liberty to say who the contractor was for this bridge project?
Sure, it's Tanner Construction Company from Mississippi.
Tanner with a T?
Yes, with a T.
Okay.
So let me ask you this, and a question been brought up here. Once the new bridge is done and finished, what will happen to the existing bridge now? Will it be torn down? Will it be left up? Like, what will happen to that bridge?
That existing bridge would be removed.
Okay. And now, is that a separate contract, or is that the same company that will be responsible for doing that as well?
It's covered under the same contract.
Okay.
Has Tanner been paid in full for their services to this point?
I don't know what they've been paid, but the project's not been closed out yet, so no, final payments have not been made.
Okay.
I don't know where we are on billings once they begin construction. I believe those billing submissions are monthly.
Okay.
But I don't know where they are, where we are in that process toward total payout. And typically, guys, just the final accounting on a project, we may be a year after completion before all the billing is totally closed out on any given project anywhere in the state.
Have they done other projects for the state in the past?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can certainly look into it and find out. Maybe we can discuss that if I come back on later with an update. We can look into that.
Sure, that would be great. I guess kind of one of the big kind of looming questions that everybody is always, especially in the construction business, and of course I deal with people in that business daily. And it's certainly not a slight on the state or a slight on a city or because I know they all use the same type of bid process. But was this a bid that was selected because it was the low bid, or is this a one of these things where you guys sit down and say, okay, well, here are the bids, but here are the references, here are their what the body of work they have done, here are their qualifications. Certainly all that would play a part in that, I would think. But, certainly on something, a bridge, which is, obviously safety is a foremost concern. I would think that the lowest bidder would not be probably the only route that you guys take when choosing a contractor.
Well, the Public Works law, prescribes the process that we follow on awarding construction projects for roads and bridges. It is a low bid law. As long as a contractor can bond the work, meaning that if they don't complete the work, their bonding company guarantees that the work will be completed. And as long as there are no legally sufficient reasons to award to a different bidder other than that low bidder, then state law does specify that we use that process.
Okay, well, and that's a question I didn't know the answer to. So, are you and you may not can answer this question. So I'm just curious. Can you say what? When we're looking for a reason as to how we got to this point, is that a contractor issue? Was it a state issue? Was it a conglomeration of both? Or is that, are you not at liberty to say, and I understand if you're not, I mean, I'm just asking the question because that question has been asked many times.
I don't know that we have all those answers at this point. I do know that in our assessment and based on the sound engineering decisions that we made, we were not satisfied that the bridge deck was built to our plans and specs.
Okay.
And so that's part of the answer. I don't think that's the entire answer, but we're still looking at that process, and we need to get to the bottom of that so that we can avoid it from happening again. And I think when we move forward, decisions have already been made that we'll replace the inspectors and managers on the project for it to be completed.
I got you. So at the end of the day, there will be some accountability here on, the part or the parties that accountability needs to be held to, is basically what it sounds to me like you're saying.
Well, for us, our end goal is to have a bridge that we can open that will provide safe, long-term service to that area. And it's our expectation that the costs are not going to be borne by the state for replacing the deck.
I'll tell you what I want to do. At some point, I know you're busy, and you and I spoke about that last week. I do want to just contact you, give you my our email address, and if you could, when maybe some things change or you get some updates or that kind of thing, if you could kind of keep us up to date on what's happening, and certainly if we get back to a point to where it's just much more than an email, we could if you wouldn't mind coming back on, and we can kind of discuss some more about what's going on and what's happening. I mean, listen, this is way more than what we knew when we first started here this morning, for sure. I can tell you that obviously people, and myself included, we're all hey, we see a new bridge out there, we want to be using it, but again, if it's not safe, for deemed safe by the state, then certainly we don't want to be using it. So, but I would like to stay in contact and you keep us up to date on what's going on.
Sure, be happy to. We did our first push of information out to the public through some press releases back in a press release back in late April when we made the determination that the deck would have to be replaced. I don't know then that we even knew you guys were on with your show, and we'll be happy to add you to our distribution list for anything we send out. And like I said, I will avail myself to come back on and provide updates anytime you want me to.
That sounds good. Tony, thank you for your time this morning, and we appreciate it. And you have a great Tuesday.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Well, Tony Harris. Let's be honest. I mean, that's way more what we have known.
Yes, it is.
I mean, so what do you think now? I mean, what do you think moving forward? It sounds to me like people are going to be held accountable. Certainly, it doesn't sound like that the bill is going to fall on the taxpayer.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, I'm going off what Tony said, and he said we're going to make that they were going to bear the burden. So again, I do want to say I thank you, Tony Harris, for coming on and speaking to us about that and helping to clear some of that up. I forgot to ask him about the porta potties.
Get back on the phone.
Yeah, but that's all right. We'll get to that on the next time we get him back on. But I've never been in construction. Of course, I've seen Lou in here commenting, and I know Lou is, and probably several others have been. But it's when you're building something of that magnitude, and I think we kind of talked about it a little bit with Tony, when you have inspectors there moving along the way. Now, did you see what Hayes posted? Hayes said Tanner's been in business for a long time and built a lot of bridges. So, that's that tells you what you need to know. Let me ask you this: you were in county government there at one time, and of course, with your father being the mayor for so many years, is it not possible to give a Alabama-owned company a somewhat of a harder look. But I mean, I know he was talking about the low bid law. I'm going to tell you something, and I will say this. I think that low bid law might need to be looked at. Am I off base here?
He certainly knows more about it than I do. I thought there was a variance there that you could work off of as well. I thought you could be within 3% of the low bid if it meant a local entity, in this case, a state company, getting the bid. That may not be the case. That's the way I understood it back in 2004.
That's what I thought too. But now, the way he worded that, I kind of thought maybe he was, because of it being that particular type of construction, that they weren't allowed to do that. So
I want to say this, and I thought he did a phenomenal job getting the official stance across from the state.
Sure.
There's things you can say, things you can't say. I can tell you what I heard him say, the way I took the information. This is just me.
Okay.
I think the state played a part in dropping the ball in the inspection. I think he said that much in terms of some of the inspectors fair. Being replaced, being removed, being reevaluated, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
So I think the state certainly played a part in it. I think the contractor obviously did not meet the specs put before them to build the decking on the bridge. I think that's a component of it as well. And I'm telling you, when you're talking about this kind of money and this kind of project, we'll just see when it gets completed, and we'll see who pays for it.
Oh, I can say this, and I'm certainly in no way have any knowledge at all as to what's going to happen or not happen. But I think that this thing will end up in a courtroom before it ends up out there on 41. I mean, now and I'm not, again, thank you, Tony, for coming in and helping to clear this up. This is not a throwing off on Tony or throwing off on the state or anybody. I'm just saying, from the way it sounds, and I agree with what you just said, I think it sounded, and as he as much said, that, when you start talking about getting rid of, inspectors and having a new group of inspectors and that type of thing, he as much said that, they had a part in it. He didn't say it, but he did. But, and so, you like you just said, obviously the contractor had a part in it. So, my question is this, and I should have asked him this, and I will ask him this when I speak with him. If you were a state inspector on that job, on that bridge, and this happens, are you afforded the privilege of keeping your job?
You wouldn't think so.
And that may not been a question he could answer. I don't know. But I wouldn't think that he would be, that not him, I wouldn't think the people, the inspectors, would be able to do their job.
Yeah, and Jesse James just put it better than I said it. Tony did his job this morning.
Sure.
He is the public information officer. He is the official mouthpiece
for the state.
For the state.
Sure.
Not the DOT, the state.
Sure.
He did his job here this morning, and I appreciate him doing it. When you look beyond the bureaucracy of it and kind of understand how this thing can play out and will play out, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
We're probably looking at 4 or 5 years
at least
before we, and that's
disappointing.
That's just us guesstimating.
That's disappointing.
Well, the justice system doesn't move real fast when it comes to things such as that. I mean, you know that because you know what's going to happen. That company is going to. You say that?
Lisa Hart.
Was he singing? What was he singing? Gangster's Paradise, Elisa. Power in the money, money in the power, minute after minute, hour after hour.
Oh, that did like that. Thank you, Lisa Hart, for that.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that.
Coolio.
Yeah. Been spend most our life living in the gangster's paradise. paradise.
Y'all carrying 40s this weekend?
Yeah. He had 2 or 3 songs about that, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Coolio.
Now, we got a real inspector calling right now. Let me make sure I got him on. Good morning. You on drive time?
I know I said I was never calling back, but
you know that a conversation is fixing to be good when it starts with, I know I said I was never calling you 2 fools again.
Winning.
I have kind of been in this industry for a long time. And let me tell you, although I'm on the other side of the fence now working for an insurance company, but kind of here's what I think I heard, okay? And here's how it's kind of done normally is you'll have a construction company coming in bid, and the bid process is what it is, and however it gets awarded is what it is. But I'm getting down to the brass tacks of why this inspection turned out the way it did. What I thought I heard him say was the quality control engineers were contracted out, which is not unusual on your big projects, on when you got construction managers, you have owners of self-funding, they will bring in, I'll throw out a name, and I'm not saying this is the people that did it, but it's a pretty well-known firm out of Mobile, Thompson Engineering, or there's several other throughout the state. They've worked on a lot of jobs that I've been on. So they will come in, they will have inspectors on the job, and this inspector's job is to test slump, or this inspector's job is to test rebar ties, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so it's a quality assurance or QC check that this contracted company does. I think he said that was the case on this bridge. Okay, so the contracted QA company will test all the parameters of what's in the contract. One of those on this bridge apparently being the thickness of the concrete above the rebar. Now, I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers, but on jobs I've been on, if the thickness was an inch, 2 inch, whatever, and it could be out a quarter of an inch in certain spots, and if those certain spots, if you calculate them and it's a certain percentage, then it'll fail inspection. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily unsafe. It hasn't met the specs. Okay. With what he was saying on there, because it is something that's going to have extreme wear on it. You know, I'm not saying, because I don't know what the tolerance was and what it was out of spec by, but it seems to me that the QC guys did not do their job. The state will bring people in to oversee and do spot checks, and apparently they came in and did some spot checks, and they could have calculated the ones that were out of spec from the last time that they were and the ones that they found now, and it's over a certain percentage, and so they say this is not going to work because it won't maintain the life of the bridge, which fails to meet the contract of what we signed. Did everybody go to sleep? Did I lose everybody on that?
No. Yeah, I mean, so
I'm gonna run to the
that's what it sounded like it said to me, was that possibly the third-party engineer QC, upon back check by them by the state, failed to do its job. The state was not satisfied with the numbers that they were seeing. And a lot of things could have triggered that. It could have been that they were looking at reports and somebody said, this report doesn't look right. It looks fishy. Something just doesn't look right. And that triggered them to come down and look. Or it could be just an annual or a time specified allotment for when they come down and do these checks. Every so often, when they get a certain amount of the bridge poured, they will come down and do a back check behind the contracted QC company. So it sounded to me, it wasn't that it was necessarily a state issue. It was a contractor issue, which all boils down really to the guy that's pouring, spreading, vibrating, and making sure that the concrete's to the depth. That's what it comes down to. So essentially what it comes down to is the guy that's making $10, $12, $13 an hour. But that's why you contract somebody to come back in behind them and do QC checks and document it. And apparently somewhere along the line, those things didn't happen well enough. And that's where you're at. And he's right. The state shouldn't bear any cost. And I think I told DJ this the other day. The state shouldn't bear any cost. It'll be that construction company. A lot of them have insurance for things like this, and they'll have to fight it, dispute it. And so, Ken, you're right, too. It could wind up in court with the amount of money it's being. But it can sound convoluted and it can sound like a very complicated process, but if you really boil it down, it's really not a complicated process. You go out there and you check and see how thick it is, and it's either within spec or within tolerance, or it's not. And in this case, it sounded like it wouldn't, and the state did a fantastic job by catching it. So, not that it would have been, not that a half an inch or a quarter inch or an eighth of an inch difference would make a difference on the safety. I think the state's aspect was, we've built this thing to be, what do you say, a 70-year bridge or whatever it was?
Yes, the longevity issue.
Yeah, so it was a longevity issue and not a safety issue. And the state's like, no, if we're going to put almost $14 million or $13.5 million into this, we want to make sure we get our money out of it. It's kind of like if you go to the grocery store, you buy a dozen eggs, or in DJ's case, 3 dozen eggs, and you get home. Let me put it in terms DJ will understand. It's like if you go to Krispy Kreme and you buy a dozen hot fresh, and only 6 of them come out that are hot and fresh. Well, and the other 6 are stale and old. You're getting donuts, but you're not getting the quality that you want. And we know what's going to happen if that happens to DJ.
Let me just tell you what has happened here.
Okay.
First of all, I've known him my whole life, and this is the smartest that he's ever sounded in his life. That was good information. He delivered it well. He pronounced most of the words correctly. That was good. But what just happened, for those of you that have watched the movie Old School, the Will Ferrell character, when he got into the debate and had a seizure and really spoke outside of his mind and outside of his body, that just happened. He has no idea what he just said. He has none. He just had one of those little spells, and it hit, and it worked, and it sounded great, and now he's T-Bone again. Report.
I want to know this.
I've never came
Oh my gosh.
I just want, I should ask Tony Harris and T-Bone, is Coolio one of the inspectors that might have been inspecting that bridge? You know what I'm saying? I wonder if he was one walking around out there singing. Maybe he was counting with that song. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get your something on the floor or whatever. I don't remember the words to it, but I mean,
it's a mess.
Yeah. That, I was kind of impressed by that just then.
I was actually wanting you to ask Tony, the information director. Tony, if you don't mind, we're going to pause 10 seconds for some
man.
for station identification.
Listen, I'm not going to lie to you.
I got to get the hard break.
I was trying to figure out what, without, like I said, I wasn't trying to put that guy on the spot because he's,
he's paid to handle these type situations.
Yeah, but I mean, it's easy to lob stones at a guy that is here to talk about it. That's fine. Yeah. But some of the aspects of this, he couldn't speak to, and that's fine.
That's fine. Also. I mean, I got a problem with somebody that knows a little bit about everything to begin with.
Yeah.
Sometimes the answer is I don't know, but I'll find out for you.
Right. Well, yeah,
I'm cool with that.
Look at there. Butcher said Taurus made it Atmore before 8, waved at a cop in Flomaton, even passed a handful of cars on the way.
Good morning, Wheezy. Glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Saw Darren yesterday and was checking up on her.
Yeah. Good to see you, Wheezy.
Good morning, Brandy.
What just happened? Oh, man. I tell you what it is time for.
I really thought it was Toby talking for the longest time when Tony got going.
Well, he did a good job, man. He did a good job. I mean, he did.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah. He spoke eloquently and intelligently, and I don't know that. Okay, let's try this again. I don't know if he's ever spoke like that before.
Only in rap. Usually his best stuff is done with rap.
Yeah, he do that.
Headed for the ballpark and have some banking to do? Stop by our drive-thru for fast, friendly service. Member FDIC. Today's date is Tuesday, June 12th. Trustmark Bank time, 8:34. The current temperature, 73. Thank you for calling.
So now I'm confused by some of this in the morning. Okay. And let me tell you why I'm confused. Some mornings he tells us the temperature and then he gives us
A little more detailed
about what
to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then some mornings it's just, okay, here's the temperature. And oh yeah, by the way, if you headed out to the ballpark, what have you. Tell you what, we might need to get Andrew Clark on the line and see if he can't explain to us what's going on with that.
Call him up.
You know what I'm saying?
3231.
Yeah. Maybe he could help us a little more as to what's happening with that whole deal right there. Do want to say this, want to remind everybody, the Blueberry Festival is coming up this Saturday, June 16th, down at Jennings Park. Also want to remind everybody about the Dash Bash and of course, we give Butch a lot of static, but the, Wind Creek Casino and Hotel and, come in and stepped up behind this thing. And of course, we are extremely happy to have their participation in this. And of course, Pepsi Cola bottling company out of a group out of Atmore. Of course, we saw one of their fine employees come through here this morning in a looked like the white flash, and went through. But anyway, we are happy to have them on board and looking for a big time down there that day. And good morning, Kinsley.
Without giving too much information, detailed information, didn't you say that it would be in everyone's best interest, people who follow this program, follow this show, to like and share the video as often as possible? Couldn't that possibly pay dividends as we move closer to the bash?
I've said that many times.
Okay.
Yes.
Like and share.
You need to, I'm telling you.
Like and share.
You need to like and share every one of these videos every morning, all day, every day, as many times you can. Trust me. And I said it in a post.
Somebody's going to benefit.
Trust me, you're going to be glad that you did. Okay? Someone is going to be glad that they did. Downtown concert, June 23rd at the Market Park, the Bayou Saints, and Colin McMillan's Mudbug Mafia are going to be in.
All right.
That's good. May have to come down and partake of some of those Mudbugs. Bayou Saints are good too. So, looking forward to that. Again, can't thank Wind Creek Casino and Hotel enough, and certainly can't thank Pepsi Cola enough for being, coming in and doing that. Of course, Larry Murphy's going to be a part of the bash and, doing his thing. And, I think he's going to have the big trailer down there and some of that great barbecue that they have. And, Charmin O'Bannon's going to be taking care of Cakewalk. She don't even really know that she's going to do, but she's going to do it. Hopefully.
I've got her cake pan.
Well, then she's got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll hold that hostage till she says yes. So, yeah, you too, Jeff. So, anyway, going to be a big time. Hey, we know more about what's going on out there than we did when we started.
Yeah. Good information.
Yeah. I mean, so, I'm glad that, and want to thank Tony Harris, with the, Department of Transportation, Public Affairs Office for calling in and taking time out this morning to help educate some of us. I did see a post in there that said, hey, maybe if he could at some point get maybe an engineer or somebody that was involved, maybe come down and have a town hall type meeting or that kind of thing. Hey, if there's enough interest, I'm sure Tony would probably be more than happy to make time to do something like that. Oh man. He's swerving.
Got to get that cam up.
He is swerving. I mean, when you take a right step and you're walking left, and you take a left step and you're walking right, ain't that what they call swerving?
Yes.
And that's what I heard. So it is what it is.
Great Tuesday morning here in Drive Time. We appreciate all of you being a part of it. We hope each of you have a great day throughout the rest of the afternoon.
Like and share. Listen, we told y'all after the TV theme show the TV theme song show, we said, listen, y'all want to make sure that you're in next Friday or 2 Fridays after that because we got a big announcement coming. Well, I'm just telling you, you need to listen to what we're saying, and you need to make sure that you like and share these videos. You can like and share them as much as you want, and I promise you, the more you like and share them, the better you're going to like what could or could not be in the future. I'll shut up now. DJ.
June 30th, the Dash Bash. Put it on your calendar. Invite everyone. It will not be the same if you are not there. Dash Bash, June 30th, O'Bannon Park. I want to thank Jim Peach Motors and Pete Chevrolet for making drive time possible each and every morning. Hope all you guys have a great day. Safe travels coming and going to the ballpark. Y'all have a good one. We love y'all.
You've been listening to Drive Time with DJ and KJ. Brought to you by Bossman Productions. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and WBOSS, The Boss.